All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome. This video is what we are going to be doing, working together 2021 tax return. So, you all should have manila folders. The sub will have manila folders. Go ahead and make sure that each and every single table has a manila folder. I've set you guys up for success. And make sure that you have inside your manila folders one copy per manila folder of 20 task cards. It should say task A on the top. I'm giving one group of cards per group, so you guys will need to share that. Then inside your manila folder, you should also have one answer sheet for each student. So there is 4 answer sheets inside each manila folder. Make sure that everyone has a copy of that and put your name on it. You will also each have one blank check inside the manila folder. Don't worry if you mess up writing your check. I have extras. Just see the sub for that. But you're going to write a check to the IRS or get reimbursed. You will need a W-2. Each and every single person will have a W-2 to look at while you're answering the questions. And then I have given you guys the federal tax table. Just a part of it. I have the whole one here for me when I'm going through the instruction, but I gave you guys just part of it that we're going to look at and find how much we actually were supposed to pay in taxes for this activity. You'll need the 1040. That's the form we actually need to file our income tax return. And you will also need a schedule one. So inside, like here's a manila folder. I've already had it set up. You guys make sure that once you get one, you have one set of task cards. It looks like this. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4 of this. This is what I am calling the answer sheet. Notice it says important directions, but this is the answer sheet. Make sure you put your first and last name right here for me. We're going to be using this to backtrack and keep all of our finite answers on here. So there should be 4 of those in your manila folder. After that, each student should get a copy. Look, notice 1, 2, 3, 4 of our client's W-2. So in this activity, we're basically going to pretend that we are the tax preparer for our client, William A. Pay. So every person should have a 2021 W-2. So make sure that every single person gets one of these at your table. Every single person should have a blank check for this activity. So make sure that you have 4 checks. If you need more, you can see the sub. Every single person needs a 1040. This right here, the 1040 is how we actually file the tax return. So make sure each and every single person has one. Go ahead and write your name up at the top somewhere so you know whose is whose. You guys will be filling this in and turning it in. And then lastly, every single person, well, not lastly, second to last, every single person should get their own schedule one to look at. Again, you can write your name on top. We're going to be filling this out based on a series of questions. So you will need your schedule one. And the last thing in your manila folders should be this tax table. Again, the tax table is really huge. I have my own personal copy in my purple folder, but I just gave you guys a front and back page for us to look at and determine for our client, William A. Pay. So make sure that everyone has everything. Everyone has one of each that they need. And let's hop in to filing our taxes. Okay, so for this activity, I'm basically going to walk you guys through. Normally, we do this activity together in person in class. So since I'm not able to be here, I figured I'm just going to make a video and we're going to walk through it together. You guys are going to watch this video and walk through the process, and it's just going to be almost the same because I usually turn on the projector and you see exactly what's happening right here anyway. So how this is going to work is we're going to work through these series of task cards. And these task cards are going to help us fill out the 1040 form, which is actually how you file your federal tax return. So make sure every table has these, and we're going to start with task A. Then you're going to need your important directions, your answer key. Remember, this is called our answer key, and you need to put your name on it. So I'm going to write Miss Passmore here. So every single person needs to have this, and Miss Passmore, this is going to help us get on track in case the task cards get a little tricky, because sometimes they do, or in case we get lost on the 1040. It's kind of like a way to backtrack. And I'm just going to read off like the initial directions first before we start looking at our 1040. So this will kind of set the scene. So William is a single teacher working in Boston. He spent $250 on teaching supplies last year and paid $1,172 in student loan interest. He also had $73 in taxable interest income from his savings account. Last year, he collected $5,750 of unemployment insurance untaxed. So we're going to go through the series of tasks. You'll see task A, B, C. We're going to go through all of these tasks, record the numbers, and check it once we've worked through these task cards. And this is going to help us fill in the 1040. So make sure you have your 1040 out. Again, I want you guys to put your name, because all of us are going to be filling out our 1040. So go ahead and put your name somewhere on it. This is not how you would normally do it if we were a tax preparer, but just for you guys' accountability, I want to make sure that we're all following along. Put your name on your 1040. And then you should also have a schedule 1. So go ahead and put your name on your schedule 1. We won't need that until later, but I just want to make sure that everything that we're turning in today, you guys are going to turn in your answer key on Canvas. You're also going to turn in your 1040. You're also going to turn in your schedule 1. And you're also going to turn in the check that you're going to need to write later. So first things first, excuse me, is we are going to do task A. And so you'll see that task A says, what is your client's filing status? So it says reread the directions as a tip. So here's the directions. Filing status. William is a single teacher working in Boston. This is his filing status. So if we go to our 1040 right here, notice that it says 1040 U.S. individual tax return 2021, some stuff, blah, blah, blah. And that says filing status. This is why task 1 is number 1. We want to know, is it single, married filing jointly, married filing separately, head of household, qualifying widower, etc. So since our client's name is William, is a single teacher, we're going to check the single box. And since we've done that right here, we're going to write single. Okay. Then in your task cards, they're kind of mixed up. Make sure you look at the back. Let's find task B. Task B. And this really just walks us through the 1040. So task B. Enter your client's personal information at the top of the 1040. So notice that after we have the filing status, it goes right into first name, initial, last name, social security number, spouse's name, last name, social, address, things like that. So this is what we're going to fill in. This is task B. Enter your client's personal information at the top of the 1040. Now, how do we know what personal information we need to file? Well, we're going to have to look at the W-2. Remember, the W-2 is the form that you get from your employer that is giving you like a synopsis, a snapshot of what your employment history looked like for that last year. So here we can see that we have the employee social security number, we have wages, income, social security wages, taxes, Medicare taxes, the employer's address, our employees or the person we're filing the taxes for's information as well, things like that. So if we're looking here at this section of our 1040, we need to fill out our client's personal information. So first thing we need is our client's first name and middle initial. So our client's first name is William, and then the middle initial is A. So we're going to write William A. Last name is Pay, right there. And I got that directly from here. Then we need our client's social security number. That is right here up at the top. So we're going to put 987654321. Very original social security number. Then it asks for if a joint return, the spouse's first and the spouse's information. And remember that William is filing single, so we do not need to fill this part in at all. We do, however, need to fill in William's home address, which is the next line. So if we look right here, that's going to tell us our William's home address. So it's 377 Telegraph Street. So not the spouse, but home address. 377 Telegraph Street. No apartment number. City is Boston. State, Massachusetts, MA. Zip code 02127. Okay. And if this was a foreign country, we would put that information here, foreign province, state, country here, and foreign postal code. So this would be like maybe if a Canadian has a US business, they need to do their taxes, right? Or something like that. If you're living in a foreign country, you're going to need to write that information here. You also have an option to, if you would like to put $3 towards the presidential election campaign. You can elect yes or no here for you or your spouse. But we're not going to fill that in because task B just simply said to fill in your client's personal information at the top. So since we have completed task B, I do not want you guys touching or drawing on the task cards because I like to reuse them. But I want you to put this check mark right here. We have officially completed task B. Now we need to look for task C in these cards where it says something about the dependents. So look amongst your cards, look for task C. Again, they are front and back. So just make sure you're checking them all out. They're not necessarily in order because I wanted to save paper. Sorry about that. Once you find it, it says your client has no dependents. He also acquired no virtual currency like Bitcoin or anything like that for task C. So no dependents. Notice that as we continue along our 1040, so we filled in single, we filled in his personal information gathered from the W-2. Then it goes here, at any time did you receive, sell, exchange, or otherwise dispose of any financial interest in any virtual currency. Since we did not acquire virtual currency, Bitcoin, etc., we're going to say no. No. Then it says our client has no dependents. So the next one, it says standard deduction. Someone can claim you as a dependent, your spouse is a dependent. Spouse itemizes on separate return if you're a dual status alien. So we don't have any dependents right here. Below that, it asks about blindness, and then it asks for if you have dependents, this is where you would fill it in. Like when you have children one day, you will need to fill in their first name, last name, social security number, relationship, child tax credit, or other dependent credit. So since we do not have anything, we're literally just going to leave it blank. And that's what your tax preparer would do as well. So task C is officially complete. We're leaving that blank and we had no virtual currency. Next, we're going to look for task D. So go ahead and look through your cards and see if you can find task D. All right, here we go. Task D says, what number did you enter on 1040 line 1? AKA, these are your client's federal wages. So in order to fill out the 1040 line 1, notice once we finish this, once we get past the dependence part, it goes right here and it has this little number 1 right here. Let me see if I can hit it with a zoom real quick. Maybe not. But if you can see, we go to line 1, okay? So after the dependents, it goes to line 1, which says wages, salaries, tips, etc. from your W-2. So we need to go back to our W-2 and figure out what our wages, salaries, tips were from our W-2. So here's our W-2. What was our wages, salaries, and tips? Here's our wages, tips, and others compensation, $73,252.88. So let's go ahead and put this number right here on line 1. So I'm going to move this up just a wee bit. Line 1, wages, salaries, tips. That's this big number right here, $73,252. $88, and that is directly from our W-2. You can even give it a little check if you need to. That's task D. So we can write that amount right here on our answer sheet as well, helping us keep on track, $73,252.88. So I know that was a little out of frame, but I just put that amount right here. Now we know that we're moving on to task E, which is going to help us fill out anything else. So you'll notice it's wages, tax-exempt interest, qualified dividends, IRA distributions, pensions and annuities, Social Security benefits, capital gain or loss. So pretty much anything where you earn income, you're going to need to claim it on your taxes. Okay, so if you gained any sort of profit in any way, shape, or form, you've got to claim that on your taxes. So if I look here at task E, it says 1040 line 2B. Your client receives $73 in taxable interest from the savings account. And if you go back and look at our directions, remember it said he also had $73 in taxable interest from savings. So we have to claim that $73. So if we look right here, line 2A, it's tax exempt interest. We don't have tax exempt interest, but we do have taxable interest, and that's going to be $73 right there, our taxable interest. We can give our task E a little check mark and move on. Let's find task F. All right. It says, what numbers did you enter on Schedule 1's line 7, 10, and 1040 line 8? So we're going to need to look at Schedule 1, line 7 and 10, and that's going to help us fill in line 8. So if we look here, we don't have any qualified dividends. We're skipping line 3. We don't have that. We don't have an IRA account as far as we know for our clients, so we're going to skip line 4. We do not have any pensions or annuities, so we're going to skip line 5. We do not have any Social Security benefits, so we're going to skip line 6. But line 7, capital gain or loss attached Schedule D, we don't have that. However, line 8 says other income from Schedule 1, line 10. So I know that's really teeny tiny right there, but it says line 8, other income from Schedule 1, line 10. So we need to look at Schedule 1 and fill in line 7 and 10, and that will help us come up with the number right here. So we need to find the Schedule 1, not the 1040, but our Schedule 1. And we are going to look at lines 7 and 10 off of this. So if we just kind of like read through this, this is a Schedule 1 is additional income and adjustments to your income. So there's the Schedule 1, there's the Schedule A, Schedule B. There's all different kinds of schedules for different things. So we just need to see if we have any additional income. We don't have any taxable refunds, credits, or offsets. We don't have any alimony received. We don't have a date of our divorce, business income, other gains or losses, rental real estate, royalties, partnerships, corporations, trusts. If you had any of those, you have to claim that on your taxes. If you have farm income, that's line 6. Line 7 is unemployment compensation. Now, remember that our client, William, it said that he collected $57,000 or $5,750 of unemployment insurance untaxed. So that's why we need to fill in line 7 of this. Our unemployment compensation is going to be straight from that. It's 5750. So line 7, 5750 right there. Now 8 is other income, net operating loss. We don't have that. Gambling income, if you gamble and you have earned more than, I think it's like $1,200, you have to claim that on your taxes. Cancellation of debt, you need to account for that as well. That might be like a bankruptcy, something like that. Foreign earned income, you have to claim that. Taxable health savings, Alaska permanent fund, dividend, jury duty pay. If you got any of that, you got to claim it. Prizes and awards. So if you go on a game show and you win prizes and awards, you have to claim that. Activity not engaged for profit. Income from a rental of your personal property, where you engaged in profit, but you weren't a part of the business. Olympic and Paralympic medals and prize money. I forgot that that's a thing. 9518 inclusion, 951AA inclusion, section 461 business loss adjustment, taxable distributions, other income, any other income is line 9. And then line 10 says combine 1 through 7. So if you had any additional things here, 1 through 7, you would add them up and then all the way through 9 as well. So since there's nothing else, it's literally just 5750. So we filled in schedule 1, line 7, and line 10. We don't have any of these other things. We just had unemployment compensation. So now that we filled in our schedule 1, we need to go back to our 1040, back to line 8. So here's our 1040. Line 8 says, how much income from schedule 1, line 10? That was our 5750. So 5750 is going to go on line 8. 5750. 5750. Okay? That is task F. And if we go back over here, that's 5750. Perfect. Now we're going to move on to task G, which means we're moving on to line 9. Okay? So if we look at line 9, it says add lines 1, 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, 6B, 7B, and 8. This is our total income. So basically from here to 8, you need to add all of this up because this is how much we made. This is how much interest we accrued, and this is how much additional income we earned from unemployment. And so we need to add all of these up, and that's going to go right here at line 9. So go ahead and grab your calculators and go ahead and add up those values. 73252.88 plus 73 plus 5750, and our total income is $79,075.89. Or I'm sorry, 88 cents. So 79,075.88 is what we have for line number 9. And that is task G. That's what we just did. Combine all of the client's income and we entered it on there. So we put 79075.88 for task G. Now, task H says, what number do we put on schedule 1, line 11? Schedule 1, line 11. So we're going back to schedule 1, which is this, and we had the front page and we filled out 1 through 10 on the front. Now, if you flip to the back, this is part 2, where we have to make any adjustments to our income. So line 11 says educator expenses, okay? So remember that William A. Pay, he's a teacher, and teachers get to write off some of their educator expenses. It depends from state to state how much they are allowed to. I know for a fact in the state of California, the maximum amount we are allowed to write off for any expenses, regardless of if we spent more, is $250. And if you look back at our answer sheet here that kind of gave us some information about William, it said that he spent $250 on teaching supplies. So this is the number that we're going to input on part 2, line 11 of our schedule 1. So $250 is going to go right here on line 11. That's task H. And since we entered in $250, we're going to put it right there. You could even do this if you want. The next task is task I. So let's see what task I has to say here. Look through your task cards and find the letter I. Okay. Schedule 1. So still this form where we just put the 250. Now, remember that we paid $1,172 in student loan interest. Well, William did. Okay, so we're going to need to include this on the schedule 1. That's going to be an adjustment to your income. So anything you pay in interest, a lot of times I know on the schedule A, you can write off the interest that you have for your mortgage payment. That is going to adjust your income. You want to make sure you include that. So if we're going through this schedule 1, line 11 was educator expenses, got it. Line 12 says business expenses of reservists, performing artists, and fee-based government officials, no. Health savings account deduction, no, we don't have that. Moving expenses for armed forces members, no. Deductible part of self-employment tax, no. Self-employment SEP simple unqualified plans, no. Self-employed health insurance deduction, no, we don't have that. Penalty on early withdrawal of savings, no, we don't have that. Any alimony paid, and whoever you were paying it to, you have to put like that person's information because they need to claim that as income on their taxes too, which, like I was telling y'all, you don't want to mess with the IRS. They will find you. There's paper trails everywhere. And if you have alimony, you're going to have to put the date of divorce or separation. Line 20 says IRA deduction. We don't have a Roth IRA account, so we're not going to include that. But 21 finally is student loan interest deduction. And remember, we paid $1,172 in student loan interest. So this line right here, it is line 21 on schedule 1, the back side. We're going to put 1172. That's how much we paid in student loan interest. So we're going to deduct that from our annual income. So let's say, yes, we did do that. Move on to task J. Okay, task J says, what number did you enter schedule 1, line 26? So we're still on schedule 1. Let's look and see. We're going to go down to line 26 and fill that in. That's at the very bottom. But let's just make sure we don't have anything else to fill in. And then we need, once we finish line 26, that number is going to go on our 1040 line 10. So that's what this task is telling us, is make sure we've got all of our adjustments to our income on the back side of our schedule 1. And whatever line 26 says, that's what we're going to put on 1040 line 10. So if we keep looking here, 21 was student loan interest, got it. 22 is reserved for future use. Archer MSA deduction, don't know what that is. Other adjustments, jury duty pay, you would have to put that here. Deductible expenses for income on line 8K from rental of personal property. Non-taxable amount of Olympic and Paralympic medals. Reforestation, amortization, and expenses. Repayment of supplemental unemployment benefits under the Trade Act of 1974. Contributions to a 501c pension plan, contributions to chaplains of 403b plans. I'm going to have that because I have a 403b plan. Attorney fees and court costs for unlawful discrimination claims. Attorney fees you paid in connection with awarding the IRS information. Housing deduction. Deductions of 67 Schedule K1. Other adjustments. Total other adjustments. Line 26. Since we don't have any of this stuff, Line 26 just says add 11 through 23 and 25. These are our adjustments to income. So 11's all the way at the top, and we're going to add up any numbers that we had here up until 25. So we just have these two values right here. We're going to add 250 plus 1,172. So you'll kind of see that these Schedule 1 and the 1040 really just walk you through line by line to make sure we have any deductions or anything that we need to account for on our taxes. When I added up 250 and 1,172, I'm just going to make sure. Do it again. Yep, we got 1,422. So that, goes all the way down here on line 26, 1,422. Notice that it says add it. These are your adjustments to income. So this is how much we're going to adjust our income. And it says enter it here and on the 1040. So let's go back and find our 1040 form. And it says it's going to go on line 10. So we can skip all the way down to line 10. It says adjustments to income from Schedule 1, line 26. That is going to be our $1,422. $1,422 even. No cents. 1,422. Fantastic. So that is task J. 1,422. That's what we just put on line 10. Cool. Next, we're going to move on to task K, which just walks us through line 11. So if you find task K, you'll see it says to fill in 1040 line 11. And if you read line 11, it's going to tell you to do exactly this. Take line 9 and subtract off line 10. And that's the number that we're going to enter. So as you read line 11, I know it's a little small here. Line 11, it says subtract line 10 from line 9. This is your adjusted gross income. So you're going to take this number, 9, right? See how our thing tells us 9, take away 10. So the larger income amount and taking away what we're adjusting our income to be. So I want you guys to go ahead, grab a calculator, and subtract. Take $79,075.88 and take away $1,422. And that amount is what you're going to write right here on line 11. So according to my calculations, it's $77,653.88. So $77,653.88. Perfect. Okay, task K is complete. And our answer sheet wants to know what number did we write right there. Well, we wrote $77,653.88. So it's just holding us accountable. And this is also nice because if you can't read the line that I'm putting, this is what's on there. Next, we're going to move to task L, which probably is just the very next line. But I like these cards because it makes it nice and easy to move through. So, task L. We look next. Task L says our client is going to take the standard deduction. Standard deduction, okay? So we just entered in, line 11. And if you look at line 12, it says standard deduction or itemized deduction from a Schedule A. So there's also a form called a Schedule A, which tells you how to do any additional itemized deductions. Now, we're not going to need that for this, but notice that 12A also has like this word bubble over here. Okay, and that will happen every time that you're filing your 1040. It will have something like that. And so that bubble says single or married filing jointly. Single or married filing separately, you get a standard deduction of $12,550 off of your adjusted income. Additionally, if you're married filing jointly or you're a qualified widow, you get to deduct $25,100. If you are the head of your household, you will claim $18,800. And if you needed to check any box under the standard deduction, itemized deduction on Schedule A, that's what else you would pull too. So I know that Schedule A does not apply to William, but it does apply to people that have a mortgage and things like that. So you can always look up the Schedule A form and you will see if you have any itemized deductions that you need to claim. So on that, there you have to claim your property taxes, you have to claim how much interest you paid on your mortgage, you can claim all sales tax that you paid in the year, but you have to have itemized deductions for them, things like that. Since we do not have Schedule A, we're just going to go off of these right here. Are we single, married or single? Are we married filing jointly, or are we head of household? You can only be one of the three. You cannot do multiple. So since our guy is single, we're going to take our standard deduction, $12,550. And that's what we're going to write on line 12A. So $12,550. It's going to go right there on line 12A. So did we record the standard deduction? Yes, we did. Now we're going to pretty much, task M is going to tell us we're going to skip them. We don't need anything until line 15, but let's just review. Okay, we filled in 12. If you made any charitable contributions, that's where you can claim right here in 12B as long as you take the standard deduction. And you can add these together, and that's what goes on line C. So it literally says add lines 12B, A and B to get lines 12C. So if we had any charitable contributions, that's what you would put right here. Then 13 qualifies business income deduction from these two forms, 8995 or 8995A. We don't have that. Line 14 says add 12 and 13, 12C and 13. We don't have anything on 12C or 13, so nothing to add. And 15 says the taxable income. Subtract line 14 from 11. So 14 from 11. If it's 0 or less, we're going to enter 0. So line 14 from 11 is what we're going to put. And this is task M that we're on. So I just want to grab my task card. And it just says, what number did you enter on 1040 line 15? Now, if we're going to add, subtract 14 from 11, we don't have anything here. So let's fill it in. This is kind of silly, but since we don't have any charitable deductions, we're going to put 0. Adding these two together, it's 12,550. There's nothing for qualified income. And if we were going to add 12 and 13, it's just the same thing. So we have 12,550. That makes it a little bit more reasonable for when we're going to do line 15, which says subtract line 14 from line 11. So line 11 is the bigger one. Take away line 14. And that is the number you're going to put on line 15. So go ahead and take $77,653.88, this number right here, and subtract off 12,550. That is our, remember, our standard deduction. This was our adjusted income, adjusted gross income, and since we have just the standard single deduction, we're going to take off $12,550 off of our income, and that puts us at $65,103.88. Now, this is good because we are lowering our income, which puts us in a lower tax bracket, which means we end up paying less because we have a proportional tax. system. So task M, what did we just write on 1040 line 15? That's the number you're going to put right here. 65,103 and 88 cents, I believe. Yes. All right. Now we're ready for task N. Go ahead and find task N. Notice we're at the bottom of our 1040. We are almost done. The backside is actually quite quick. Task N. Okay, so we finished the front side. It says, what number did we enter on 1040 line 16? And we're going to need the tax table. So first things first, we need line 16. We're at 15. Flip your 1040 to the back. 1040 to the back side. And if you flip it to the back side, you look at line 16, it says tax, see instructions, check if you have any forms of like the 8814 or 4972 or a different one. So we need to figure out what our taxes are for this. Now, in order to figure out our taxes, we need our adjusted gross income, that number we just entered in, that $65,103.88, and we need to find it on our tax table. Okay, so we're gonna have to go to the tax table. Now, you guys just have one piece, but this is what it looks like. Really, this is the 1040 and 1040 SR tax tables for the year 2021, and this is how we figure out how much, based on how much you made, how much money were you supposed to give the government. Okay, so it says this booklet contains tax and earned income for the 1040 and 1040 SR. So you'll see it starts here with just like 1,000 to 1,025, and it will give us single, married, filing jointly, married separately, head of household. And so we need to find our interval. Now, luckily for you guys, like I gave you just one of these already. So go ahead and find the area where we're going to have 65,103 and 88 cents. It should be somewhere within this tax table. So like I'm at 56, not enough. I need to get to the 65s, right? 65,103. So find this part. You should have just one paper that looks like this, your tax table. And we're going to go down to the 65. Real quick to read it. It says if your taxable income is at least but less than. So we're looking here. We're looking at these portions. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Nope. So we're looking to see if our taxable income is between this number and this number. So that's the first part, how we read it. And then it says this column is how much we should pay if we were single. This column is how much we would do if we're married and joint, married and separate, or head of household. So let's go down to the 65. And again, remember our adjusted gross income from the previous value was 65,103 and 88 cents. So it's not 65 to 65.50. No. 65.50 to 6,500. No, it's a little bit more than that. 6,500 to 65,150. So this is where we're going to want to look. This line right here. We're going to want to look here. In between these values right here. Okay. Now remember this first two numbers, that's the interval. This white number is single. Gray number is married jointly. White number is married separately. And gray number is married head of household. Remember, our guy, he is single. So this is the amount, 10,076. That's the amount we should have paid based on this tax table for the amount of income that we had. So 10,076. That is the amount that we're going to write here. 10,076. 10,076. Okay. So 10,076. That's how much we should have paid in taxes according to our tax table. Okay. So now we need to see the amount from Schedule 2, line 3. We don't have a Schedule 2, so nothing. 16 and 17 is going to be nothing, so we're going to have 10,076 right there. Non-refundable child tax credit or other dependents. We don't have children, so no. Amount from Schedule 3, line 8, we do not have that. Add lines 19 and 20 together. Well, there's nothing there. So 0 down the line. Usually you'll just leave it blank, but just to make sure we're accounted for. Line 22 says subtract line 21 from 18. So 21 take away 18, or 18 take away 21. That's just going to be our 10,076. 10,076. If it's 0 or less, enter 0. Yeah, no. 23, any other taxes? We don't have any. That would come from Schedule 221. You would know, like if you're self-employed. And then 22 and 23, add them up. 22 and 23. Well, we don't have anything. So that's how much we should have paid in taxes. 10,076. And that's actually task O. Like, what did we write down on line 22? And then again on line 24. If you look at task O, it says, what did we put on line 18, 22, and 24? Look, here's 18, 22, and 24. That's the number that we're putting. So 10,076. Right over here, 10,076. Perfect. We're almost done. Let's go to task P. Task P says, what number did you enter for 1040 lines 25, 20D, 25A, 25D, and 33? So we were at 24. We got to go to 25A. We're probably going to have to enter something in 25D and line 33. And the tip says, look at our W2, which was this thing here. So let's read what 25A has to say. 25A says federal income tax withheld from your W2. So W2, how much federal income tax was withheld? This is our wages. This is the federal income tax, this number. That's 25A, 9862.84. Okay? 9862.84. It came right from here. That's how much taxes was withheld out of our pay automatically. B says form 1099. We don't have a 1099. Again, you would have that. A 1099 is if you have any other income. We don't have any other income other than like the disability, but we don't have anything like that. We just had a Schedule 1 and our 1040 here. So we don't need that. 25C says any other forms that we have. We don't have any. And 25D says add these together, 25A through 25C. So since this is nothing and this is nothing, this is going to be $9,862.84 for 25D. If we look, 2021 estimated tax payments, we don't have any. Earned income credit. So if you have a qualifying child for an income credit, that's where you would enter in 27. We don't. Check here if you were born after January 1st, 1998 and before January 2nd, 2004, and you satisfy all other requirements for taxpayers or at least 18 to claim the EIC. So some of y'all might be falling within that when you do your taxes. Check what EIC is. Make sure you qualify for that. If you do, you might as well. Non-taxable combat pay, we don't have it. Prior year earned income, don't have it. Refundable tax credit, we don't have that. So that's why some people with children, they get tax credits. They get to write off dollar amounts per child. That's how they can lower their income or their taxes. Line 29, I want you guys to pay extra attention to. American Opportunity Credit, Form 8863. This is if you go to college full time, there is a tax credit, the American Opportunity Credit. I claimed that for like too many years when I was in college. My tax preparer helped me. Make sure if you go to college full time, you can write off the American Opportunity Credit. That will help you maximize your refund. Okay. We don't have that for William A. Pay though. 30 recovery rebate credit. We don't have that. Amount from Schedule 3, we don't have it. Add lines 27, 28 through 31. So if you look at this, 27, 28 through 31, that's nothing for 32. 33 says adds 25D, 26, and 32. 25D, 26, we didn't have anything, and 32. So if we add 9,862 plus 0, well, it's going to be $9,862.84 right there. So that's the amount, 9,862 and 84 cents was how much we put for those lines. Okay. Now, notice that this is all the taxes, and then we get to this part right here. Okay, it says refund, line 34. So this is how you tell if you earned a refund or not. If line 33 is more than line 24, subtract 24 from 33. This is the amount you overpaid. So if you look at line 33 and you also look at line 24, and if line 33 is bigger, it's greater than, you paid too much in taxes. Now, is 9,862 bigger than 10,076? No, we did not overpay, unfortunately. So if 35A says if the amount you want refunded to you, okay, if we overpaid, that's what we would put there. And you would fill in your routing number and your account number if you wanted it direct deposited. Unfortunately, we're at line 37. If 33 is smaller than 24, we did not pay enough in taxes. So you're going to take 24, subtract line 33. So the bigger number always with these subtraction problems, and take away line 33. So that means you're going to take this number right here, 10,076, and subtract $9,862.84. And that's going to give you $213.16. So that's going to go on line 37. 213.16. Let me double check that just to make sure I typed it in correctly. 9862.84. Yes, 213.16. Okay. So unfortunately, if we look at task Q and our directions, because that's keeping us aligned, making sure we're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing. Did we pay or overpay or underpay? Unfortunately, we underpaid. So we do not have a refund, unfortunately. So if you look at task N, since that number was smaller, yeah, unfortunately, I don't know where that task card went. We do not have a refund, but that's okay. If we underpaid, which is what we did, how much do we owe? That's the amount right here, $213.16. Oops, $213.16. We underpaid. Okay. Now, to finish off this, if you had any tax penalty, that would be added on here. We don't have any. Do you want allow another person to discuss this with the IRS? So if you have a third party designee, meaning you go to a third party like H&R Block or something like that, you have to click like yes and have them sign. This is where your tax preparer will sign and put their phone number and their PIN ID. And then, so like we would put our information here if we were the tax preparer, and then we're done with the 1040. So our client needs to sign this part right here. We have gone through and figured out the taxes. So we need to have our client sign here, right? It says, under the penalties of perjury, which means lying, I declare that I have examined this return and accompanying schedules and statements, and to the best of my knowledge and belief, they are true, correct, and complete. Declaration of preparer other than the taxpayer is based on information which the preparer has any knowledge. So this is basically saying if you lie, they're coming for you. And if your tax preparer lies, they're coming for you, or they're saying that it's your fault. So this is why you don't mess with the IRS. But you do need to have your client's signature. Now, we're going to just sign on their behalf. So I want you to sign William Pay. Oh, cool. Put today's date. I'm not sure what day it will be when you're doing this. So I'm going to put 4/11/22 when I'm recording this. Put the date, the occupation of the person of William Pay. Remember, homie was a teacher. If you have a PIN, you would put that number here for electronically signing it. We don't have one right now. If you had a spouse and you were filing together, you would need their signature, date, and occupation. The phone number and things like that, you would have them include their information. Let's see if it's anywhere on here. I don't think it is. On the W-2. No, we don't have William's phone number. So we're just going to leave that blank. But you would fill that here and your email address. And then the preparer, whoever the tax preparer is, they have to fill in this information. Because again, this is going to go back on them too. So they would put their name, their signature, the date. They have a PTIN, which is like a employee number essentially. The firm that they work for, the firm's address, the phone number, EIN number, things like that, just so that they're held accountable as well. So that was our last task. We have almost officially completed this in just about an hour. That's usually about how long it takes when you actually go to a tax preparer as well, because they ask you all kinds of questions and walk you through this. Some of them are quite speedy. So T, QRS, TR, oh yeah. Review and sign, perfect. And I believe that's the last one. So the final thing you need to do, check out your 1040s filled in. Your schedule 1 is filled in. Your answer key important directions is completely filled in. The last thing you need to do, guys, is you need to write a check to the IRS. Since we owe, we need to write a check to the Internal Revenue Service for the amount that they've owed. So again, you got to put the dollar amount, write it in cursive, sign it. Your memo is probably 2021 taxes. You got to date it, whatever the date is that you're doing this. And you also need to upload a picture of your check. So again, the amount that we owed the IRS is what you put here. In the event that the IRS actually, we overpaid them, they would write us a check, and that's what gets direct deposited into our account. So hopefully this activity helped you guys with figuring out how to file your taxes. This is really like what it's like if you go and get your taxes prepared or you file them yourselves with TurboTax or something like that. So make sure you turn in your assignment, y'all, and I'll see you when I get back.